Hi, it's Eric from Sensory Dad. I posted a video today, and it was about a frank conversation that I had to have with my son Leo after a really rough day yesterday. Apparently, their school system has something to where you can click up and down based upon your behaviors in class or in gym or whatever. And long story short, this, this is about 30 days, 20 days, 5 days a week that he's been back in school. And every year, the anxiety level gets high because you know for sure that they're going to have a brand new teacher, possibly a lot of new students around them. So the anxiety level for the child goes up, and for the parents as well. Any parents, in the forum that I'm in, I saw a lot of parents are extremely nervous that their child first started, kindergarten or pre-K, and what if your kid gets lost? What if they don't get, the kind of help that they need, from the teacher because they just don't know the situation. What we've seen is each teacher seems to be very, very good at, and adept at recognizing situations, but not at first. One way that we've kind of squashed that and tried to help out the teachers and the aides were to, kind of make a playbook for them. If X happens, do Y, and if one happens, add this into your mix, and we had it okay that the teacher could actually just give my son a hug. The deep pressure is really one of the great things that help him, in an adversarial, situation. If he's really upset, and obviously, that's not conducive to every area. So that's something we had to look into. So yesterday's situation with him, and he got off the bus, and he's distraught. He throws his book bag and he says, "I got clipped down to red." So these clips, I guess, when you're on green, and you can get to blue or purple or whatever it is, I don't understand it completely. I just know we aim for green. We just want the decent behavior. I understand that my kid's not gonna do handsprings and be the greatest person in the world because of the overwhelming, sensory input that he has to deal with every day. So we aim for green, and we're ecstatic when he's, middle of the pack with the behavior because we know how difficult it is for him. So yesterday's incident was, the bunch of kids, and I don't know if it was for the bathroom or what, I couldn't really pry it out of them, but they were waiting in line, and the child next to him kept, jumping in front of him and then jumping behind him, and had another kid, he was letting into him. And Leo's kind of a bubble person. He'll either get too close to you and kind of invade your space if you're really close friends or you're talking or you're engaged in conversation. And we've worked on that. But if he doesn't know you, or if you're standoffish, or you really rub him the wrong way, he wants a space. And anytime he gets in a line, you see that the fight or flight might come into effect. The sensory overload, people bumping into him or rubbing up against him, becomes an issue. So one thing that we do is we kind of go back to, this is kind of one of our references. So it's by a lady named Angie Voss, and she's an occupational therapist, but it's basically understanding your child's sensory signals. And so, last night in bed, my wife and I sat down and we took a look at this book, and I could just read you a little excerpt from it. You know, this can be due to a child's defensive and overactive tactile system, which creates like we said, the fight or flight, which we see a lot of times when we've had to try to, integrate him into athletics. His sister and he were supposed to be in a Tung Sudo tournament, last year, and we could tell that he just wasn't ready. And his sister won gold medals and did great, and he has as good or better abilities than her in the martial arts. But it becomes when the sensory overload happens, and just being too close to other people, that really starts to affect him. So we held him out for that year. We're going to try next year. But it tells you a lot of different things that we have tried in the past with the line thing. Leo tried to correct the behavior of the person in line. Now this new teacher, well, not new teacher, but his new teacher for the year doesn't understand that we used to have to try to keep him in the front of the line or the back of the line, and obviously just looking at typical mathematics, it's you cut the ability for somebody to bump into him or mess with him by half. If he's the first one or he's the last one. Now he obviously fights about being the last one, and I don't know why. He just doesn't want to be the last one in line. He won't really explain that to us, but we do wear compression clothing on him. That does help with a lot of the deep pressure feedback. He wears them everywhere, every day. Under every piece of clothing, he wears the compression stuff, and that's something he has to do for himself. So my only recourse in this whole thing was to talk through with him. He was trying to correct the other child's behavior because he knew that everybody was going to get in trouble and he would be singled out as well because the pushing and the shoving and the bouncing, to the front of the line and in front of people and behind people, you're going to be guilty by association. And he's intelligent enough to realize that, hey, you can't do that. You're gonna get us in trouble. Like, stop jumping around. And kids being kids at 7 and 8 years old, the kid said to him, "I don't have to listen to you. You're not the teacher." And you know what? That kid's right. And the frank conversation I had with Leo, and I had to do it in the car and let my other son come inside, was, buddy, that teacher, makes good money to take care of you guys and to make sure that you can abide by the rules that are set by the school, whether you're in line or at gym class or at lunch, and you have to give that teacher the opportunity, to do so. And I think that I got through to him, but we'll see today. I don't know what his behavior is going to be like today. So it just becomes real nerve-wracking. And even 3.5 years into this, guys, it was hard. It was a rough night, and the school contacts you and singles you out, and because your child does not explain the whole situation, that they were actually trying to help the teacher. This new teacher, all of a sudden, she's like, man, this kid's a jerk. Leo was, whenever she was talking to him and trying to explain, like, you can't do that. What are you thinking, Leo? He was giving her this, which he does to us and he does to his siblings, and he's been punished for, and he knows that that's something that triggers us to get upset. He's not being receptive at all. And when he does stuff like that, I know from experience that he completely just shuts down the receiving end of his body, and it's no longer, I'm understanding what you're explaining to me, and I can work on this. I can change how I did this. So really, I just wanted to reiterate to you guys, even though a lot of my videos have been how great we've been doing and everything like that, guys, we still have setbacks, and we do see the light at the end of the tunnel, but guys, it just doesn't get easier. It might get less often that you're having, the severe issues. Like, I'm, and I didn't really say it to my wife, but you know what, dude, I'm ecstatic that this happened once in a month, or twice in a month rather than, 3-4 times in a week. So it does get less prevalent, but it still doesn't make it any easier whenever you get that kind of message left on your machine, like, that it's the implication, like, hey, we know you're a shitty parent. Like, what's wrong with your kid? Didn't you ever teach him manners? And they don't say that, but that's kind of the judgment you feel right here coming in every time you get a phone call or a text like that. I've tried to always have those calls come to me, because I can understand, I know what we're going through. I know the work we're putting into this, and we're never going to stop working on this. I mean, he may be in college, and I may be, hey, brother, call me. If you're between classes, call me. I know that I'm in this for the long haul, and I know that I'm always going to have resources to go and other parents that are going through this to reference. What I just want to say is, thanks for all the support, everybody. I hope that us talking about this stuff opens some eyes to the understanding. and people that are judgmental. If you happen across this site and you happen to see some of my videos and stuff like that, that's the reason I'm doing this, to raise the awareness that, I can do everything as a parent right, and it still doesn't work 100% of the time. I can guide him as best as I can, and sometimes it's still going to look like we're completely inept as parents. So just hang in there, with parents like us that are going through this, and if you can, be supportive, or just ask questions rather than just saying your kid did this, and he did that, and we need to take care of this. It's just like, hey, this happened today. That would be nicer, to get, but we're working on it. Thanks again for subscribing to Sensory Dad and watching the videos. Really appreciate you guys and all the love that I've gotten back from all the forums. So have a great day. Thanks.